In today's economy, more people than ever are looking to buy and sell businesses. But how do you do it? Welcome to the Deal Board, presented by Transworld Business Advisors. Straight talk about real deals and real people. Listen to stories, interviews, and expert advice to help your business sale, merger, or acquisition process. Now, here are your business exit experts, Andy and JT.
You've landed on the Deal Board podcast. This is Andy Cagnetta. I'm JT Jim Tatem, and we are glad that you've joined us here for today's episode. 15 years, Andy. 15 years. Can you believe it?
No.
15 years in franchising.
It feels like it went so fast, but it feels like a lot of work happened.
A lot of work did happen. A lot of people's lives were changed. A lot of things happened for your brand. You became one of the poster child businesses for Accurate
AFI.
Franchising Incorporated, right? How do I turn my business into a franchise? Ask this guy, because he did it.
Yes, and it's a great story, and I'll start at the beginning of us sitting here in 2009, 2008. We've spoken about those years before. Basically turning our pockets inside out and counting the lint inside. Trying to figure out, here we were in 2009, having been in business for 15 years before that,
right?
And saying to ourselves, it's actually more than that, but we're saying to ourselves as Transworld, going, it took us 15 years to get to a point where we had 10 offices in the state of Florida, really kind of 4 major offices. So we only really expanded in that time, not very far. Right?
Okay, that's true, but give yourself a lot of credit, because most people don't even get to that.
Right, no, I'll give us credit, right? But we were looking at it saying, and then we got to Jacksonville, and I think one of the stories that really made us think about franchising was we hired a front desk person who, of course, that office was not being supervised by anybody day to day.
Right.
And this front desk person was sleeping at the desk. And
not a good first.
And they were not, and we had our agents like kind of calling us up saying, she's not doing anything. And we come to find out that she was a reality TV star that had won a contest in VH1, a recording contest. She was recording music at night in Orlando, driving to Jacksonville to be our front end assistant because she took a bet from her people that she had never had a job and she wanted to take a job. I don't know how she landed on our front desk, but she did. So it kind of gave us the lesson of, listen, if we want to build these cities, we have to be there often. Yeah. And you have to become a trusted advisor, and you need people that have a stake in the game. And we said, so we need partners, because we had a great partner in Orlando at one point, and he built Orlando incredibly. And we need more partnerships like that.
Right.
So what's a great structure for partners?
How do I do that? Yeah.
How do you get partners in business?
Right. And how do you get partners who are going to care? How do you get partners who are going to run it the way you were going to run it? That's really what you were looking for. And knowing that they're a distance from you. So you can't just stop by and check out and see how things are going, right? Yes.
You need systems.
That's right. You need systems. You need something scalable. You need something that's reproducible. You need something that you can go, this is what you do. You got to be able to hand them that manual of operation, so to speak, right?
What's that called?
That's called business format franchising.
Right. And so we I read the E-Myth.
Great book, by the way. If you
great book, Michael Gerber.
Yep.
And realized that I had to systematize our business, which we had done a decent job of, but we realized we really needed someone to help us franchise. And quickly realizing that franchising was a completely different industry.
So let me pause you there for just a second, because, there are a lot of brands in and around the country that are not franchised. The Starbucks of the world, for example, they're all corporately run locations, right? So there is something to be said for people who say, I'm going to have multiple locations. I am going to systemize it, but I'm going to keep it all myself.
Right.
And the upside to that is you get all of the revenue.
Right.
But you also do 100% of the work.
Right.
You got to find all the locations, got to hire all the people, got to deal with all the liability, et cetera, et cetera. So,
and it's your money.
Yeah, that's where
you have to capitalize that expansion.
That's where business
format franchising we realized that we couldn't capitalize the expansion much more faster than we were doing it.
Right.
And we said, hey, we want to do this much faster.
Yeah, so you wanted to accelerate that and be able to kind of flip a switch and make that happen multiple cities, multiple at the same time.
Right.
And without doing it yourself. And so that's why franchising was born. You know, I remember a quote by J. Paul Getty that said something to the effect of, I would rather have 1% of 100 man's effort than 100% of my own.
Right.
That's what franchising is.
That's what franchising is.
I get a piece of royalty from that one and that one and that one. I teach them what to do. They become me in their local market, whatever that market is. And that's what you guys did outside of Florida.
Yeah.
It's a great way to expand.
And we quickly figured out that we didn't know how to do that. And there was a lot of laws in franchising.
That is true.
And there's a lot of effort. You know, you might be able to open up one franchise and get your documents together, which we went to an attorney. God bless Keith Canoes.
Okay.
And we went to Keith and we said, hey, Keith, we want a franchise. And I won't tell you how big his bill was that he proposed to us for making us a franchise, but it was significant.
Yeah.
It's significant to the point where I said, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Because we really, even after we're done doing that, even after you're done with your documents, you need to go out there and franchise.
Yeah, franchising, creating the documents is, hey, here's my franchise agreement. Here's what, I'm going to do. Maybe, I don't know if he was even going to get you registered with the states.
Yeah.
Do your item 19,
probably not.
do your FDD, the franchise disclosure document, which every franchise needs to be able to give you when you're a prospective person looking at it. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like that's now I can franchise.
Right.
Well, just because you can doesn't mean you can.
Right.
Because you need operations manuals. You need to take everything that's in Andy's head and all of your partners' heads, document that, create a training program. How are you going to set it up? How are you going to launch? How are you going to support the people when you put them in business? That's the true essence of franchising. It's not just selling you the brand.
And I realized that we didn't have that capacity. And because we were in the business brokerage game, we were really good at
that's what you're good at.
Building Sims and getting people sold and selling businesses. But we were not good at franchise. We had no clue. And so when Keith told me the price, it wasn't always the price. It was everything after the price too. And so I said, Keith, we're just not going to do this. We just don't have the stomach to launch a franchise. We don't have the expertise. And he says, well, if you're not going to do it yourselves, you should call it United Franchise Group.
Okay.
And so we did.
That's the intro. That's how you guys got connected.
And that's how we got connected. So, the rest is sort of history.
Well, it's interesting too, because not just because Keith referred you to Ray and the UFG group, but at the same time, and I know this because I was on the other side at the time, we had been franchising businesses across multiple brands at that point, okay? And we had many franchisees who were thinking about exiting their business.
Right.
And we were thinking, all right, we need like a brokerage to be able to help find the right buyers for these people. How do we market it and sell it and promote it? Right. So there was a timing thing. I don't know if people believe in divinity or not, but
it was
like there was a God appointed time here for what Transworld wanted to do, what United Franchise Group wanted to do, and Transworld Business Brokers then became Transworld Business Advisors of the franchise.
Yeah, it was funny because you had started that process of building out a franchise for business brokerage. Yes. It was kind of tapped onto the something else.
Yeah, that's right.
On top of Franchise Mart, which you had started as well. And the idea, came for Transworld to come together. And, one of the first things Ray was like, I don't like your name. And I'm like, I don't either. I've had it for, I bought the company before, and in 1997, and I came in 95 as an agent. So I've been here 30 years. And I said, we didn't love the term business brokers. We didn't feel like it really explained who we were. Back in those days, there was some swampland selling kind of like thought process and view of business brokers. So we decided Transworld Business Advisor sounded better. Plus, we were also going to continue in advising people to become franchise ors and
franchisees, yes.
In other franchise, platforms. So we decided to move forward as Transworld Business Advisors on October 26th, 2010.
Yes. So it's been 15 years.
15 years exactly.
Happy anniversary. Yeah,
Thank you.
Incredible.
So it's been an incredible ride. I will tell you that, there is a lot to building a franchise. You were here at the time because you were running Signorama.
On the other side, looking at completely different, unrelated industries, watching you guys come in and join the team and thinking, that's a pretty interesting model.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we were very fortunate in having people like you to, I remember some of my earliest days going to Signorama ad fund meetings and going to strategic planning meetings of Signorama and watching, the process of you trying to build out your sales funnel and trying to build out going to the shows and all those things that were essential in building a franchise.
Well, and I think a lot of people think sometimes about, hey, I could franchise my business. And to your point, I just go get an attorney, we drop some paperwork. There is so much more that happens. Okay. It's like in any business, and you look at our sister company, AFI, right? It's one of our brands in United Franchise Group. And they're doing between 50 and 70 AFI clients a year. Okay. That's what's happened in the last several years at AFI. And all of those clients need not just, hey, create my paperwork, but I need the processes, like we said, the documentation, the manuals, the training. And you have to teach them how to support those franchisees, because without the franchisees being successful, you're not going to get another franchisee after that. So being able to put all those systems in place was that's what we knew how to do. You guys knew business brokerage. We didn't have expertise in that. We knew franchising. You didn't have expertise, and it's a perfect marriage, which is why so many people who think about, let me just go find a business, find someone who's not only helped people become a franchise, but is a franchisor themselves.
Yeah.
Because UFG is the largest privately held franchisor in the country. And it's not just that we have expertise in teaching you how to turn it into a franchise. We've done it ourselves almost 20 times.
Yeah.
For our own brands, plus 50 to 70 clients every single year. There's a process here that's proven. We know what to do. We know how to get you up and running really quickly. And I think what you guys benefited from also was the not just create the franchise, but then how do we recruit franchisees?
Yeah. Because that's, I was just about to say that, you could create your documents.
Absolutely.
Like you create your operations manual.
Right.
And I would be silly to say that our operations manual is the same after 15 years.
No, it's continually evolves.
It's changed like every single year almost.
Because when you create the ops manual up front, it's everything that you know how to do.
Right.
Hopefully you've captured the majority of that, right? As you begin franchising, now over time, you start getting better at your processes because your franchisees are out there doing it.
Right.
And they're coming up with another way that you didn't think of, I didn't think of, and you go, that's really smart. We need to document that and pass it to the rest of the system.
Yeah.
And the whole system gets better.
And then people who had Signoramas decided to sell and buy Transworlds.
That's correct.
Not only you.
That's correct.
I mean, there were several of them.
Barry Johns did it. Rich and Sonia did it. Several people have done that. They sold their Signorama after 10 or 15 years. They retired for a period of time, which is a short period of time, it seems.
Right.
Look, if you're in your 40s or 50s and you sell a business, yes, there's that, I'm going to retire now. I cashed out.
I'm going to play golf.
But there's only so many boat rides you can go on. And times around the golf course you can go and you're like, I'm bored. I got to do something with my life.
Right.
And they really enjoyed the experience that they went through with Transworld selling their business. And they go, how do I become one of them?
Right.
And they've come back as Transworld franchisees today.
Yeah. And, I think one of the things about becoming a franchisor, not only did I was ready, I think, for the work. I think I really was. I don't think I expected that it would be hard to kind of like get everybody, rowing at the same speed, at the same, It's because sometimes you put really smart people into business and they go through this phase of, that's great, thanks, I'm going to do it my way.
Right, yes.
But I think that over time, the system got to the point where everybody realized, oh, wait a second. They were, because one of the things we heard in the beginning was, well, that only works in Florida. Well, that only works in Florida. And it took, people like Jessica and Al coming in and some successful people like Karen and
Karen Christensen, yeah, that's right.
And her partner,
those guys,
right, to come in and say, no, wait a second. And Karen was one of the originals. She was a franchise mart, and same with Mark Lazarus. And they came in and they said, no, wait. These guys have something here.
Right.
Let's follow this system. And then once that system is proven, and everybody goes, wait a second. It doesn't only work in Florida. Right. It works in Denver. It works in California.
Now it's
it works in Texas. Yep. All of a sudden everybody's like, okay, we should follow the.
So you're 15 years in, right? Give me one or two memorable moments, most memorable moments, either with a franchisee or an event that you were at or an epiphany that you had. What's something that stands out for you over the last 15 years?
I remember in the beginning being with Bill Luce, and we had several of the people that were franchise marts come down to Florida, and we were sitting in our conference room, and we stood up there, and we kind of gave this impassioned, speech about how we're a new name, it's a new beginning, there's going to be great things happening, and we just stood there and kind of said, and that's it, and it was crickets. It was cricket, and Karen Christensen stood up. And she says, I like you guys.
Okay.
I'm behind you.
Okay.
And the whole room kind of changed.
The buy-in. Okay.
So we did have some really good buy-in right from the beginning, and thanks to a lot of people. And I think one of the things that I remember that really stood out to me was my first expo. Going to my first expo and seeing the Signorama group walk in.
Oh, now a World Expo.
Expo.
So let me just paint the picture here for folks that don't know what you're talking about. So each franchise concept usually has a convention or an annual gathering of franchisees.
Right.
And we do the same thing here with all of our brands individually.
Right.
But then every couple of years, there's the UFG World Expo, where all of the franchisees from all of the different brands, at that time there might have been 7 or 8 of them, now there's a dozen, right? All come together. And that's what you saw. You see something now. The Transworld people are there, but the Signorama guys who've been doing this now for 20 years come in, and there's hundreds of them.
Right.
What's that impression? What happened?
It was jaw dropping. I was just like, oh my God. And to watch, you and Ray and put on the show. I mean, of rallying the troops, of getting everybody on board. It was just, to the point where, like, a lot of these old fogey business brokers I had at the time going, really? And I'm like, yeah, really? Like, this is wild. Like, I remember I brought home some of the signs that we're all in, and I was plastering them on my walls. I'm like, guys, these guys got it going on. Let's get on board.
That's funny.
So, and then, the other thing that really blew my mind, and I remember looking at Ray and thanking him, because I'm standing in Australia. And we're welcoming in the first, Transworld folks and going to other countries, and just saying, "Wow!" Just seeing the name up on somebody's office in London, and it just gives you goosebumps,
right?
To watch
because you knew where you came from. Yeah,
right.
I can remember that because being in New York when we started with one Signorama, and someday somebody was saying to us, well, someday you're going to be the largest full-service sign company in the world. And we were like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. We were content to be the biggest in America.
Right.
Now, today, Signorama's in 50, 60 countries, whatever it is, and you kind of go, wow.
Yeah.
And Transworld is now in 16.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big investment in time. It was a big investment in money. I mean, I have to hand it to Ray. Both of us had established businesses. And at times I would kid with Ray, and he won't let me forget it. I'd say, Ray, exactly when are we going to make money? Because we were really determined on growth and building it. And we just kept putting it back in, putting it back in, put it back in. And at times when we were short on payroll or we were funding a conference or something, I'd be like, I got that from Florida. And he's like, yeah, don't worry, I'm covering it from here.
Yep.
And then, we'd pay it back when we'd sold a few more franchises. And it was really, the strength of the two organizations coming together to make Transworld Business Advisors. Thank you, everybody at UFG. Thank you to you. Thank you to everything that it's been an incredible 15 years.
So think about, the audience, somebody's watching today and they own a business and maybe they thought, geez, I don't know if I could franchise this thing. Why would I do that? Why would I just keep doing my own? I make enough money out of this thing. A lot of times what they're concerned with is, if I franchise it, is the other guy going to do it the same way I do it? He's going to care as much as I care. Is the service going to be the same? Right. So they're hesitant to franchise. What advice would you give somebody to go, why do this?
I would tell them that they're not going to do it the same. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad.
Okay.
But again, if you have a good concept and you get it documented, and it's easier to document these days, it's easier to follow people, it's easier to have POS systems and CRMs, and so you could do a better job of controlling than maybe we could have 15 years ago. So I would tell people not to be scared by that. Business isn't perfect, people aren't perfect, but once you get the systems and you get them down and you get everybody following it, it's magic. And being able to leverage not only the monetary capital, but the human capital, and getting people on board through an amazing organization like UFG. It's incredible what we built.
I'd rather have 1% of 100 man's efforts than 100% of my own.
We'll leave it with that.
That's it. That's it right there. Well, you've heard it straight from Andy, you guys have just built an amazing organization. We have great franchisees in 16 countries, 1,000 agents and brokers, 200 plus offices. Right. And that's because you were willing to take that leap and say, I know I can get it this far if I'm going to go that far. I think they say there's an old African proverb, like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
There you go.
And that's what franchising has done for you guys. So.
Yes, it has. And what else do we have today?
We have a listing of the week.
And a deal of the week. So we wouldn't want to leave those out.
No, we're going to do that. So stick right here with us. You've landed on the deal board at Transworld Business Advisors.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Andy.
Hey, Andy, do you know what time it is?
What time?
It's time for Deal of the Week.
Ring the bell.
I'm here with Brooke Hartnett in the Transworld Boston office to discuss a recent closing of a swim school franchise in the Boston area. Brooke, why don't you tell us about this transaction?
Yeah, so there was a swim school franchise that we were working with that operated out of 5 different locations. They had a kind of company mission of water safety around actually teaching swimming. So it was a fantastic local message that attracted some really fantastic local families. They started the business during COVID, so they had ran the business for about 5 years or so, kind of right out of that.
Yeah, and tell us about why the sellers were looking to sell and about the buyer you found.
Yeah, so the sellers were looking to spend a little extra time with their children as they were starting to get a little older, and felt like that was going to be kind of the best use of their time as they maybe thought about down the road of doing another business venture. The buyer who we found for this was fantastic. He was a local guy to the area, also, had a passion for swimming and kind of teaching his kids water safety as well. And I think they had some experiences with some other swim schools or other swimming instructors that was not so good, which was also the seller's experience as well, which I think created a really nice synergy for everybody.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a perfect fit. Local to the area and industry experience. That is a great match. You also had to deal with a lot of moving parts in this transaction. It was a franchisor, franchise approval, and you mentioned 5 locations. So what did that mean?
Yeah, so the business model for this franchise, for this franchise business wasn't to have a location. So their business model was to rent out pool lanes at complexes with swimming pools. So basically what that meant for completing the deal was connecting the buyer to the different pool managers and who controlled the leases. So that was just, a little bit of a unique situation because usually we're kind of dealing with maybe one landlord if there's, a property or space involved. So this was a little different. We were dealing with 5 different landlords and pool managers trying to help the buyer secure leases.
Yeah, well, great job. You overcome 5 landlords, a franchisor, and you made it across the finish line. So we wish everyone the best of luck in their new venture and congrats on the sale.
Hey, JT, do you know what time it is?
Money time?
Almost. It's time for listing of the week.
Hey, everybody. I'm JT Harp with Transworld Business Advisors right here in Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. And if you are looking for your next great concept in the bar and restaurant space, we've got a great opportunity for you. This fully outfitted brewery and tap room is your chance to step into a complete operation without the time or the cost of starting your own from scratch. Every detail here is in place: the bar, the tap system, the fully decked out kitchen, and it also includes an audiovisual setup for private events in its own private room space. The entire build out is less than 2 years old and is professionally designed to impress. There is no beer brewed on site, but this space is perfect for continuing a proven taproom model or introducing your own brand, menu, or concept. It's located with prime visibility in a high traffic location with strong area demographics. This opportunity is ready for that owner with their own vision to pour new life into an already thriving space. So if you're ready to tap into your own success, reach out today and let's get talking about how making this space your next big win. Again, I'm JT Hart with Transworld Business Advisors of Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. Contact us today.
Thanks for tuning in to the show today. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends on social media. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcasting app. If you have questions, would like to appear, or have suggestions for topics for the show, get in contact with us through our website, thedealboardpodcast.com.